Edward Brown, host of the Best of Investing, here to remind you to tune in this week on Saturday at 8 p.m. We're going to be talking about real estate and the economy. You're not going to want to miss this show. That's the Best of Investing on Saturday at 8 p.m. Welcome. You're listening to The Best of Investing. I'm your host, Edward Brown. Our phone number is 888-912-1190. Use that number to answer the trivia questions for a 5-pack tanning certificate given away during this show. Those certificates are not sponsored by the radio station, but by Tanbella Tanning Salon with 2 locations in San Francisco and 1 in Marin. And those certificates are worth about a little over $100. It's a nice little certificate giveaway here. Today's trivia theme is the NBA. So we'll see who knows about the National Basketball Association. We do have a special guest. Today's special guest is Tom Dunkel of Belrose Storage Group. And the episode title for today is Pitfalls for High Net Worth Investors and How to Avoid Them. A little background on Tom. He brings over 28 years of real estate, finance, and investing experience to his position as Chief Investment Officer. Working alongside his world-class team of professionals, Tom makes it his mission to find great investment opportunities for his clients while helping them meet their wealth-building goals. Tom, welcome to the Best of Investing.
Hello, Edward. It's great to see you, and I'm so happy to be here and interact with your audience. I'm looking forward to a great show.
All right. Thank you. So first of all, give us a bit. I read just a little bit, but give us your background.
Sure. Yeah, Edward. So I started out after business school doing mergers and acquisitions in the aerospace industry. And then that kind of transformed into an investment banking career with working with some technology companies. But of course, that was probably my first bubble experience, was going through the internet bubble burst back in the early 2000s. So,
2000s. Oh, yeah.
So, when people talk about bubble, booms and busts and bubbles and such, I've been through several at this point in my career. But so from there, continued on with my corporate career and until I found myself out of a job in 2006. I think it was maybe the third time in 4 years that I had lost my job, and I decided that I had enough of, having my destiny controlled by others. So I decided to give it a go in the real estate world in 2006, which led me to my next big bubble experience, was being a real estate investor through the Great Recession. So definitely learned some hard lessons there. But I've stuck with it, and now here we are 18 years later, but I've done deals in many different real estate asset classes, and today we've got a great team and a great business going in the self-storage industry.
Boy, it's amazing to think 2006 was 18 years ago. It seems like yesterday.
Tell me about it. Yeah.
Yeah,
I know. I've got a kid graduating college this year. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Been there, done that. So I get it. So it's interesting because I, many years ago, when I was doing hard money lending, we did a loan for a guy who bought a self-storage facility in Northern California here. And he did a good job. He bought it well. And then he did a good job with it. And we lent him other money, and that he was having a hard time with that, just literally right before the real estate, the Great Recession. So we ended up doing a loan workout where we took possession of that property and kind of ran the storage ourselves.
Okay.
And being in the self-storage industry, it was interesting. I mean, the thing that was kind of cool about it was there wasn't like much obsolescence from the standpoint of, these are just big boxes. And we had a freight elevator, but other than that, it wasn't too much to go wrong.
That's right.
Yeah, but interesting, when we ended up selling it, because we wanted to go back into the hard money loan business, we actually sold it to a developer who wanted to tear it all down and build condos. And while they were going through the permit process, they were at least getting income from the self-storage. Sure. So it was kind of a win-win situation from there. How did you get in? I tell you what, we got 1 minute to go before our first break. Tell us just a little bit quickly, how did you transition to self-storage, though?
Sure. Yeah. Well, we had built, me and my partner, Joe Downs, we'd built a nice business in the distressed mortgage debt industry. And that allowed us to kind of
Yeah.
dabble in some other areas, including hard money lending, by the way.
Yeah.
But what we were looking for, because distressed debt is a great business, but it can be very volatile. It's very up and down, very unpredictable. And so we were looking for another industry, another business that would help to balance out those ups and downs. And so self-storage has been steady. It's been a steady Eddie asset class for over 40 years through all different kinds of economies, ups, downs, this and that. And so for a number of reasons, that being one of them, we decided to take a go at building a self-storage company. So to this point, we've acquired 14. We actually have 2 that we're closing on here soon. So we'll be up to about 16 acquisitions. And it's just a great, resilient kind of asset class that throws off some nice cash flow. So we're big fans.
Okay. Well, I know a little bit about it, as I said. So I'll be asking you some questions because I like to see how you do it. It's interesting because I like the distressed mortgage debt. I'd rather not be an owner or landlord, so to speak. I like
Sure.
being the debt. Did you buy non-performing loans? Is that what
Yes,
your specialty was? Yeah.
that's
Okay.
right. Non-performing second liens.
Second liens. Gotcha. Okay, that's a
Yeah.
little different. All right. Here is our first trivia question on the NBA. And just as a reminder, Tom, if you know the answer, don't say anything quite yet.
Sure.
First trivia question: which ex-NBA player has the most rings? That's our trivia question. Call 888-912-1190. First caller with the correct answer wins that tanning certificate, which is worth $100. Stay with us. You're listening to the best of investing. Don't touch that dial. We're going to be right back. Welcome back to the best of investing. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with my special guest, Tom Dunkel, who's an expert in self-storage. Our first trivia question on the NBA: which ex-NBA player has the most rings? Tom, now you can answer if you think you know the
Oh,
answer.
you're asking me?
Yeah.
Man, I'm not a big NBA guy, but it's got to be one of the Lakers or maybe Celtics.
Yeah. Close. Okay. Well, okay. Actually, it's okay. So it's Phil Jackson. He's got 13 rings, 2 with the Knicks as a player, 6 with the Bulls as a coach, and 5 with the Lakers as a coach.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's a little twist. I was thinking, I wasn't thinking Phil Jackson as a player, coach.
As a player, yeah, but he was a player for 2 years.
Wow,
Okay.
that's incredible.
So Tom, again, talking about the self-storage, so it's kind of interesting because do you buy all around the country?
We're mostly on the East Coast, Edward. We're headquartered outside Philly, so we just tend to gravitate this way. Plus, we follow the demographic trends of folks moving to the Southeast.
Yeah, I was going to say that it seems like that's where your big customer is going to be, or that's where most of your customers are going to be, is the constant moving of people, moving in, moving out, temporarily keep my furniture in there until I'm ready to pick it up to move it out, right?
No, you're spot on, Edward. It's the kind of industry that is really driven by real estate, residential real estate transactions. I would say
Okay.
about 25-30% of our customers are in some kind of transition related to their residence.
And it used to be, before CDs came out and thumb drives, that attorneys always had to have a lot of storage because of keeping original documents. Maybe they don't need the originals anymore. That's hard to say. But how long does your average customer stay with you?
Yeah, that's a great question. We get that a lot. It's what's funny is the customer will come into one of our stores and say they just need a unit for a few months. But right, exactly. The next thing you know, a few months goes by, a few more months goes by, and we end up having them for about a year and 9 months. Year and 8
Wow,
months.
that's actually pretty long. Yeah, you know what kind of cracks me up is the people who come in and they're not looking to move, but they go, yeah, my house is a little cluttered, so I'm going to pay you $100 a month to store my $50 worth of furniture for 6 months. And it's like,
That's right.
People, unless there's like really some weird heirloom situation, they really would be better off to just throw it in the garbage and buy something, But people are gonna,
Yes.
like a little hoarding type. But
That's right.
yeah,
That's kind of the irony of all this, Edward, is I'm the furthest thing from a pack rat. I'm happy to throw stuff out or give it away or what have you. So I've never actually rented a storage unit for
yeah.
myself.
I know. Either have I. But it's really funny that I've known people. Well, actually, it's interesting because my old company, the one that I did the self storage workout, we've had our storage facility probably for over 20 years, and
Hmm.
it's to house a lot of boxes worth of old papers that for whatever reason we have to just, I guess,
Yeah.
purge every 7 years or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so let's talk about your favorite passive investments. What are those? Would it be also self? I mean, because self storage it's kind of a business too. It's not just a passive.
Sure,
You know.
100%. Yeah. So yeah, at the end of the day, I'm an investor, just like a lot of the investors that we work with that come on and partner with us to buy these self-storage facilities. So that's really the hat that I wear at the end of the day is this a good investment? Does it meet with my goals?
Yeah.
Capital preservation, cash flow, growth, tax
Yeah.
benefits. So those are the kinds of things that a lot of our investors are looking for. So yeah, self storage fits that bill for sure.
Mhm.
I
Now,
also
when you buy these, do you buy them all cash or do you get them leveraged? Do you leverage them?
No, we leverage them judiciously. Again, having been
Judiciously.
through the
Good
Great
word. Yeah.
Recession, we have one deal where we're like 53% loan to value. Other one is like 70% loan to value. I think
Okay.
the most we've done is like 75% for like a really solid cash flowing
Gotcha.
property.
And what,
But
what kind of cap rates are you trying to shoot for when you're buying?
it varies from market to market, but we're typically a higher cap rate than multifamily. So we're going to
Yeah.
be in kind of recently we're in kind of the 7% range, where I think multifamily is still kind of in the 5 or 6% range, depending
Yeah.
on the market. But self storage is typically a point or two better than
Better. Yeah.
family.
Well, here's the interesting thing. I know, obviously, you being an expert, you can experience this. If you're charging $100 a month, let's say, for a storage
Mhm.
facility, it's not that big a deal when you suddenly, it's just going to cost you an extra $10, but that's a 10% increase, and you've just
You're spot
increased the
on.
value of your property at maybe $1 million because of that. Because
Oh
people are
yeah, no,
not going to move their stuff out for $10,
No, you're exactly
right?
right. That $10 increase, you multiply that over 300 or 400 units, throw a cap rate on that, and you can easily increase the value of a storage facility by several hundred thousand or maybe $1 million. The other thing we do, Edward, is we add in a revenue stream like tenant protection. So
Okay.
that's like another $8 or $9 per unit per month, which doesn't sound like a lot, but you spread that
What is
out.
that? Is that a security camera or something, or what's the
Well, we
protection?
require our customers to either prove to us that their homeowner's policy covers their contents, because they're responsible for the contents, not us, in the
Yeah,
case of
not
loss.
you. Yeah,
Or
exactly.
we offer that as a service in addition to
Oh,
the
gotcha.
unit. So it's
Okay,
another revenue stream.
excellent. Okay, we got more to talk about. Okay, here's
Yeah.
our second trivia question on the NBA. This one's actually a little harder question. How many players in the NBA history have 20,000 points, 10,000 rebounds, 5,000 assists, 1,500 steals, and 1,500 blocks in their career? How many players have all of that? And see if you can name them. All right, stay with us. You're listening. Call 888-912-1190. First caller with the correct answer wins that tanning certificate. Don't touch that dial. We're going to be right back. Welcome back to the Best of Investing. I'm Edward Brown, along with my special guest, Tom Dunkel. Second trivia question on the NBA. How many players in the NBA history have 20,000 points, 10,000 rebounds, 5,000 assists, 1,500 steals, and 1,500 blocks in their career? First of all, how many players do you think, Tom?
Edward, I'd have to say that's a tall order there. Sorry for the basketball joke, but it's a tall order, right? I'd be surprised if it was more than one or two.
The answer is one. Okay, good,
Okay.
very good. And who
Okay.
is that player? That's
I'd have to
probably somebody
say,
you wouldn't. Go ahead.
wouldn't think of really.
Yeah.
Uh, um,
I mean, he's definitely deserving of it, but he's not the first player. I would think Will Chamberlain, maybe Jabbar, whatever.
yeah,
Kevin Garnett. Remember he played with the
Kevin
Timberwolves and
Garnett.
then the Celtics, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Isn't that amazing?
okay.
He had a long career. Yeah,
He did have a
that's
long career.
pretty
Wow, that's an
amazing.
amazing
Yeah,
resume
not
there.
Tim Duncan or some of these other guys. I was actually kind of impressed with that. Okay, so we're talking self storage, and how do you do you put together like limited partnerships or LLCs and invite investors to
That's
come on
exactly
board?
right, Edward. Yeah, we
Okay,
we go out to our investor community to come alongside us in acquiring these facilities. So yeah, we put a syndication together is what we call it. So it's deal by deal. We have investors who have been with us for a long time, and they the best thing I think for investors is they can pick and choose which opportunities to take advantage of and which ones might not fit their needs for whatever reason. So it's not like a fund where they're just blindly handing over their money and we're going out and buying a bunch of stuff. So they have the opportunity to select which deals that we're acquiring works for them.
okay. What's your average occupancy?
Our average occupancy right now is about like 80%, 78, 80%, right around in
Okay.
there.
All right. Well, again, the costs of running these are not very high, so you can definitely make cash flow. It's just a matter of how much.
That's
Um,
exactly right.
and how long have you been doing these syndications?
So it's funny. We've been doing syndications since before we got into self storage. So we've done over, geez, we're going on about $70 million of syndicated capital deals over the last 12 or 14 years. But recently in self storage, we've done about 20 million of self storage syndications over the past 4 or 5 years.
Okay, great. And are you able to pay out distributions almost right away to clients, to investors?
Typically, yes. Yeah, typically
Okay.
we do. And in fact, Edward, we offer two classes of shares.
Okay.
One is a priority preferred
Yep.
return class, which is more for cash flow oriented investors that are looking to maybe replace income, reach that financial freedom. And then our other class of shares is more for growth oriented investors that they want a little cash flow along the way, but really what they want is that growth pop on
Yeah.
the back end when we sell the property.
And so we used to call them the A B side. The A side and the B side. The A side is the income people.
That's
What
right.
kind of distribution do you usually send to those people?
So the class A, the preferred people are getting usually the high single digits, 8-9%.
Okay.
And then for the other class is more like in the 5% range.
Oh, so the B side still gets a cash flow,
Yeah, it
lower
might
cash
take a
flow.
year or two to get to that hurdle, get to that threshold,
Gotcha.
but it's cumulative, so we make up for it down the road if when cash flow allows.
And both sides get the benefit of depreciation, don't they?
Oh yeah, that's
Okay.
a big reason why investors like to come along with us. This time of year, right? We're sending out our K1s, and they love to see that they're getting those cash distributions during the year. But when they get their K1, there's actually a loss or very low
Yeah.
income that ends up on their personal tax returns. Whatever it is, it's less than the amount of cash distributions they've received during the year. So that's what a
That's
lot
good.
of commercial real estate investors really like, including me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. What's the time horizon you're generally looking at for hold period?
So we're buying existing facilities that are just not
Yeah.
being run well, and so we
Yeah.
we implement our proven value add strategies. And if it's a plain vanilla, pretty straightforward deal, that's about a 3 year kind of hold to get all that straightened out. If there's any complexity to the deal, like maybe there's an expansion component or a conversion opportunity or some kind of bigger project, something a little hairier, then that's going to be more like a 4 year project, maybe five.
Gotcha. Okay. Good. We're going to go to these breaks go kind of fast. Hey,
They do come
before
up
we,
quick.
yeah, how do people get a hold of you if they're interested in discussing self-storage with you.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Tom Dunkel. I'm the Chief Investment Officer at Belrose Storage Group, BELROSE Storage Group. You can find me all over social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and of course at belrosestorategroup.com.
Okay, very good. Do want to make a mention here for Polio Restaurant in San Francisco. It's been voted by San Franciscans as one of the best restaurants, so it's got to be good. I mean, there's so many thousands of restaurants in San Francisco. You got to check out Polio, Palio restaurant. Let's see here. Want to make? Let's go to our third trivia question. That's what we're doing. You're talking the NBA. In what country was the Nets head coach Steve Nash born? If you remember, I believe he's in the Hall of Fame as a player. What country was Steve Nash born? That's our trivia question. Call 888-912-1190. First caller with the correct answer wins that tanning certificate. Also want to make a mention here for Integrity Electric. Call them to check out what a Tesla Powerwall can do for you. IntegrityElectric.net. Stay with us. You're listening to the Best of Investing. Don't touch that dial. We are going to be right back. Welcome back to the Best of Investing. One more time, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with my special guest, Tom Dunkel, discussing self-storage. Third trivia question. In what country was Steve Nash head coach of the Nets? Used to play with, he's played with a couple of different basketball teams, the Mavericks and the Suns. I'm not sure where else he played, but he played a lot of places. What country was he born?
Total guess, I'm going to say Australia.
No, actually, South Africa. Everyone thinks of Steve Nash as a Canadian, but he was actually born in South Africa. That's kind of a tough one. We know.
Okay.
All right. So, Tom, what do you think is driving the self-storage market right now?
Yeah, that's a great question, Edward. The biggest thing is it's twofold. Because just like a lot of industries, they're driven by generational kinds of shifts, right? So you've got, on the one hand, you've got baby boomers who are selling their big, family homes to downsize into retirement, but they don't. They want to hold on to their stuff, so they put it in storage. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you have the millennials, who are our largest generation in our society, and they are in their peak spending years. They're starting to get married. They're starting to buy houses, starting to have kids. And what that means is they're accumulating stuff. And millennials seem to like to have kind of a smaller footprint when it comes to their living situation. So they'll buy a smaller home or live in a smaller townhouse or an apartment, but they still want their toys. So they still want the mountain bike and the kayak, and they need a place for their holiday decorations, etc. So that's a huge driver. And of course, millennials, they do everything on their smartphones, right? So our technology platform is conducive to working with millennials, so they can rent a unit at one of our facilities right from their smartphone. So we love that technology. It helps to streamline.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they go to the self-storage more than the older people. So because some of these people probably don't visit it less than once a year.
That's if that. Some people store something, kind of like we talked about in an earlier segment, where they say they're just going to need a unit for a few months, and next thing you know, they're there for a year and 8 months. And that's what happens is it's kind of like set it and forget it, out of sight, out of mind. And we love to have them on auto pay, right? So we get that cash flow hitting. We hit their credit card every month, like a Planet Fitness membership.
So let me ask you, what are the common mistakes you see from high net worth investors?
Yeah, I've made, again, as an investor for many years myself, I've made plenty of mistakes. So we actually boiled it down into an ebook that we have dubbed the SAFE method, the SAFE investing method. SAFE is an acronym. Of course, investing isn't safe. But if you follow the SAFE method, high net worth investors might be able to avoid a few pitfalls. S stands for sponsor. I see way too many high net worth individuals just kind of skip past the sponsor and just start looking at the deal. You really want to find out as much as you can about who you're doing business with, because that is a big risk factor. So you want to ask a lot of questions about the sponsor for sure. And then real quick, is for asset. You want to make sure you understand thoroughly what is the asset that you are investing in and how is the value of that asset impacted by ups and downs and different economies.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
F is for financials. What are the financial projections? Are they realistic? What are the tax implications? Has the sponsor hit those kinds of projections in the past?
Okay.
And then finally, E is for exit. It's not like you can go to schwab.com and click and sell your position in a Belrose Storage Group self-storage facility syndication. It just doesn't work that way. So you need to understand what needs to happen for you to exit that investment, get your money back, and make a return.
Totally makes sense. And why, let's see here, why should high net worth investors consider investing with Belrose Storage Group?
Sure. Well, as I mentioned earlier, our interests are aligned with our investors because we do deal by deal syndications, so investors can decide to join us or not. And when I say join us, I mean that for real, because we invest in every one of our syndications alongside our investor partners. And we've been doing this for a while. And we've got a good track record, and we really have an amazing team, which goes back to the S in the SAFE method. Is, we welcome people to get to know not only me running around on these radio shows and podcasts, but we have a great team behind me of serious professionals, and we've got the technology background, and we've hit some great projection returns for our investors in the past, and so they keep rolling over with us, and we appreciate that very much.
Very good. Really quickly before we get to our break, what are the primary risks in self-storage that you see?
Sure. Well, we've just experienced a kind of a crazy year last year, Edward, with the interest rates going up 5% in 1 year. So that really kind of threw a lot of real estate markets into a tizzy, including self-storage, not just our portfolio, but across the industry. Because what that did is it really slowed down residential real estate transactions. And like we touched on, that's a big driver of demand for self-storage. So that was something challenging that we have now course corrected, and we've worked our way through those issues. The other big thing I would say is
hold that thought, Tom. Hold that thought. Yeah. We got to cut to our break.
Gotcha.
We're running out of time. Come stay with us. Best of Investing will be back with some closing comments. Welcome back to the Best of Investing. Last time for today, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with my special guest, Tom Dunkel. Okay, Tom, you were finishing up, and I had to interrupt you with a commercial break. Go ahead.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah. So what I was starting to say was, when we're looking at acquiring a self-storage facility, we're not only looking at that specific facility, we're also doing a really deep dive in the market around that facility, including looking at the pipeline of potential development activity, because that would give us some insight into what kind of self-storage unit supply is coming into that market. So if there's a big real estate investment trust that's getting ready to build a 150,000 square foot facility down the street from the one we're looking at, and that's going to suck up a lot of the demand in that market. So that's going to give us a pause in looking at pulling the trigger on acquiring that facility.
Gotcha. Okay, Tom, give out your information one more time, and then I'm going to give a quick update as to what's going on with our funds.
Sounds great, Edward. Yeah. So once again, folks, I'm Tom Dunkel. I'm the Chief Investment Officer at Belrose Storage Group, BELROSE, and you can find me all over social media or at belrosestorategroup.com.
Okay. And get a little update here. So the fund that I manage is called the Pacific Southwest Note Fund. We've grew from 4.5 million to 9 million in a little over a year. So that was, we're quite pleased with that. And we buy discounted mortgages. So Tom's familiar with that. In our market, we're buying only first mortgages, a little different than what Tom was doing before.
Mhm.
I gotta say, and trying to be objective here, but of course I've got a self-interest, so take that with a grain of salt. But I gotta say that I think our fund is probably the most conservative one out there. And the reason I say that is we're unlevered, and our average loan to value is 54%. But because we're buying the notes at a discount, our average investment to value is 37%. So I
That's
don't
great.
know of any other fund out there that effectively has a 37% loan to value for their investment. So for
That's
the
great.
audience out there, yeah, if there's a house worth 100 grand, the borrower owes 54,000, but we bought that note at 37. So
Yeah.
that's got a lot of room to play,
Yeah.
just in case there's
Oh
a
yeah,
big recession
I love the
going on.
discounted notes business for sure, and that's one of the
Yeah,
reasons
you're familiar with it. Yeah. So
definitely
we
need
pay
to
our
add that to the portfolio.
Yeah, we do pay our clients just a flat 8.5%.
Mhm.
There's really no growth in it. It's just strictly for income, and we do qualify. And I'm sure your funds do qualify for QBID, the Qualified Business Income Deduction. So if
Mhm.
the investor qualifies, which obviously you got to talk to your CPA to find out if you qualify, you only have to pay taxes on 80% of income, not 100%. So there's potentially tax benefit there. With ours, there's really no lockup. You just give us 30 days notice when you want your money back. And then because we are somewhat of a cash cow, it's pretty easy for us to redeem
Yeah,
people. But obviously if there's a run on the bank, then we'd have to kind of piecemeal it out. But
sure.
yeah,
That's a
but there's
huge
basically,
benefit
it
for
is
your
because
investors.
ordinarily there's a 1 year hold, but we don't charge an
Yeah.
early withdrawal penalty. So that's
Mhm.
technically what it is. It's a 1 year hold, but we don't charge for an early withdrawal penalty. So that's kind of what we're doing there. And then in our Freedom Fund for high net worth investors, we're paying either 8, 9, or 10%, depending upon how much they invest. And primarily on that one, we're originating notes, just like the regular old bank does. Short-term notes, people who need money quickly can't go to the bank, or they might have one little glitch in their credit report or
Yeah.
something like that, some weird reason. Tom knows this because he's been in the business. But
Mhm.
for more information, check us out at pacificprivatemoney.com. Click on the invest page just to see what we got available. You're not obligated for anything. All right. Now, Tom, are you ready for our thoughts for the day?
Oh
All
boy,
right.
I guess I better be.
You better
It's that
be.
time
Okay,
of the
here we
show.
go. So someone asked me what my son was going to be when he gets out of college. And I said, at this rate, I'd say he'll be about 30. No, actually, my son's very smart. He passed the CPA exam, so I'm not worried about him. And a priest, a rabbi, and a vicar walk into a bar, and the barman says, "Is this some kind of a joke?" Because
Da.
typically, right, you walk into a bar, a priest and a rabbi going to a bar. All right, audience, tune in next week to The Best of Investing. We're going to be giving away more free prizes for answering trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm Edward Brown, wishing you the best of investing. So long.